Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Something Something podcast, episode 199, Larry.
Cue the audience and the crowd.
I mean,
Yay! I can't believe it. 199, Eric. We are one
yeah.
away
And it's
from our
not like
200th
we
episode.
and it's not like we already recorded the 200th episode.
No,
We
we would never
totally
do
have
that.
not done that. That's the one
No,
thing I want everyone to know.
no. But there is a special guest host that we can
Yeah.
tell you.
Well,
So
Larry, we are right dab in the middle of the Christmas season, and
yes,
I don't know. Again, I'm fighting to get into the Christmas spirit. I mean, I love the holidays. Halloween is my favorite holiday.
yeah,
To me, it starts in September and goes year round.
yeah.
But Christmas does have a special place in my heart. I'm 20 minutes away from Manhattan. So I
Mhm.
do eventually want to go check out the tree there and just let all the Christmas goodness into my life. What's Christmas like in Texas, Larry?
Oh
Is there
man,
a lot of
it's
snow, a lot of white Christmases?
Oh no. We'll be lucky to hit, especially here around like South Texas, because they consider San Antonio the start of South Texas, I think. It's right now, I think probably around 70, 75. It
Nice.
kind of drives me crazy. I could probably never make it in Florida because to me, Christmas should be nice and cold, but that's just me.
Okay, now watch this segue, Larry. Christmas is a time to really get together with family. And one thing me and my family love, one of our love languages is movies. And there's not a lot of stuff right now you can watch with your family,
Right.
except for stuff on the Hallmark Channel. Now, I love the Hallmark Channel. I mean,
Ditto.
I'm the only person in the world who has a subscription to Shudder, the Netflix of horror, and the Hallmark Channel app. But the other thing is, I love because I believe in network television. Hallmark hasn't lost their identity like a lot of other channels have. And one
Right.
of the best shows on there right now is The Way Home. We had Alex Hook on the show a few months
Yeah.
ago. That
Yeah.
was great. But
Yeah.
one of the standout people on the show, there's always an actor who pops up on something like, man, that guy is awesome. I gotta look them up. And then you find out, wait, they were on this other huge show. So, Larry, introduce our guest for us.
Well, I am super excited to have on actor. Actually, he's a triple threat, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Um, uh, Kataem, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. That was so great. I loved every minute of that. That was really fun. I also learned a bit more about Hallmark. I forgot. He was saying something. I was like, yeah, no, he's right. Yeah, Hallmark really has that identity. I really
It
You
is very
feel
good.
like no
like
other
grab me.
channel anymore has an identity. It's not like
Yeah.
when I was your age, there was this channel called WB, and they were mainly, young adults. No other channel does that anymore.
Mhm. Yeah,
Right.
I think it's very much a safe place. Like it's gonna be that way, or it has its style the whole time. And yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one thing my mother really appreciates about it. I always see her watching the Hallmark Channel every time I visit her.
With my mom, it was Up. It's the Up network.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the Up Network, but
It's basically the Hallmark Channel's homeschooled Mormon cousin.
or I could put that. I have no perspective on that, but I could like make a guess. I guess.
Yeah. So let's start right away. We all and me and Larry love the show, but tell us how it all started with you, man. When did you get the acting bug? What was it?
Or like from the very like my career.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It started when I was like 10 years old. I remember being in the car with my mom on the highway, and when those radio stations like give out those little like commercials saying like you could be a big star type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I instantly jumped on the opportunity to like beg my mom to and she cracked and was like, you know what? All right, let's get this over with. It'll probably be like a week. He'll dreams are not going to come true, and then that'll be it. And it just one thing led to another thing, and I was just showing up to the conventions and stuff, and there would be like panels of agents and such, and I would just be in the right rooms at the right time, smile at the right time, and it was then from there. So, but it was like that's where it took off, and like just being a ambitious 10-year-old, and I got the inspiration from like the shows I was watching. Like Family Channel was huge to me, Disney Channel, and that's what they used. The emotional strings they were pulling on in this commercial was like, would you like to be on Wizards of Waverly Place and like Disney Channel and such? I was like, yeah, that's what I look up to these guys. So they got
That's
me.
pretty
That's
cool.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. When you first got into, because I think, you're in Canada, right? You grew up in Canada?
Yeah. Toronto
And
speak.
growing up in Canada, what is that like for you? Because I know, growing up in Texas, wanting to go to California and be an actor, which I did. And obviously I'm here, I mean, it's only a couple states away, but being in Canada, right? What was the notion of, and did you go to Los Angeles? How did that turn out?
Yeah, eventually I did go to Los Angeles. I actually went this summer. I stayed the whole summer, but by the time I made that decision, the industry has completely changed, and you didn't really need. Also considering the strike was at the same time and pandemic, like you didn't really need to. But before then, I wasn't even thinking about like traveling in general, because I was just kind of so in love with the craft, and there was a flow state. I didn't really go a year without doing something that like established my like passion for it a bit more and just kept me going. It was only like a bit after the pandemic that people were like kind of in my ear about like going to LA. But by then it was like I also had the other argument of like, yeah, you don't really need to go to LA. So now it's like it's a completely different decision for me as opposed to like anyone that probably like coming up at a different time as an
I
actor.
think one thing we don't understand in America is you do have your own film industry in Canada. There's like awesome shows there that we never hear about here. So you could have a very good, comfortable career just working in Canada for as long as, then eventually, movies that get played everywhere, but you can just be a Canadian based actor.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I feel like especially I think the big industries are like Toronto, Vancouver, but I've seen even Winnipeg has like the epicenter of Hallmark really and such, and they're just constantly pumping out content. Not only do they have like the variety of content that people are kind of like getting pushed under the rug. It's like these guys are relentless with how much they're pushing it. There's so shows on shows in Toronto and all over Canada. Really, yeah, you can stay here and not even realize there's an industry outside. But I mean, you'd be pretty naive to not see it. A lot of our idols, a lot of the people I look up to personally are all in America and such. So that's typically why I would shoot for something like that or try to go to America and such. But you can easily like get established as like an actor out here and just stay here and stuff.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah. And seeing as how you can get established, I would reckon and expect that when you do go to LA, if you do decide to go to LA, back to LA, I should say, right? Or come back and forth, you have a little bit more leverage because you are established. And I think one of the things about Los Angeles and really the entertainment in general, the entertainment industry for actors especially, is I think once you get established as an actor that can hit your mark and do your lines and be in character, and you have a generally happy personality, and not a happy, but you're generally easy to work with.
Yeah.
I think that really helps you get established even more quicker, because then word gets around is like, hey, he's a really great guy, but man, he's a phenomenal actor. And there's like,
And it's
because
really
you
the
hear the
big guy
horror
part.
stories, huh?
really the great guy part that gets you in those rooms. I feel like anyone could really
Exactly.
hit their mark, right? But that like if there's an attitude around you and people don't necessarily like to work with you, there's always going to be someone to fill that slot. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand. Well, maybe they do now, but you know, when I was in LA, I taught acting, and a lot of new people would come in, and it would blow my mind how they would just have this sense of entitlement, like, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to perform, I can do it. And then it's like, oh, there's like 15 other me's at an audition. Oh boy. So
yeah,
it is a thing, right?
yeah. It's hard not to be like I don't when I meet those specific people, I'm like, how do you not see how much humility you need to have in this industry? Like
Yeah.
it's really comes down to that. You have to like no matter what stage you are still like it's still very competitive and it's friendly competition. It's got to be like that in the sense. Um, or just not competition in general. Like people are offering completely different ways and approaches to this specific thing. They're calling multiple people for the job, and just appreciating that process will probably help like you be more easier to work with, as opposed to thinking like you're the one or something like that. It's also more fun that way to realize like you're just the person bringing an authentic version of this role to the director who doesn't know exactly your perspective on it and such, and through that just be as nice to everyone as possible and stuff because everyone's going through their version of the same process. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Very
So
well
when I
said.
was looking through your IMDb, I noticed that you were in an episode of the Canadian Religion, and by that I mean, of course, Degrassi.
oh, I was like, oh, hold on, wait.
Oh
Yeah,
no, because I mean, all the Canadians I know, and even a lot of Americans, like Degrassi is their thing, every
yeah.
different version of it. So, as a kid from Canada, what was
Yep.
it like just getting to be on an episode of Degrassi?
That was really cool. And also like there was a lot of things I learned. I remember that day. I remember that day specifically because it was also my birthday when I filmed and stuff. And in the scene I was giving the girl a gift and stuff. And it was a very wholesome day and it was cool like that. But first off, how close it was to where I was living at the time. It's like I think it's uh in Scarborough, I think, or around it was just really close to me at the time. Same time. And when I did it, I remember my friends catching on, and I just kept getting the Drake call outs and stuff. Because also I started music at the same time as like acting and such, so I'm a rapper too, and so
Okay.
they had a field day with that and stuff. And it was so cool. It really opened my eyes to like the industry in Toronto and stuff because they have. It's not only like the set for Degrassi, they have the set for like LA Complex, or like they can turn it. It's a whole studio and it was so close to me. It just opened my eyes to like how much resources Toronto had at that time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how old I was. Maybe like 14. Yeah, it was definitely before like Heartland and stuff. But yeah, I remember it was a lot, and also knowing how big Degrassi was really cool and such. So just
Well,
more things fuel me.
we'll get into Heartland, but I want to talk about your music a little bit, being a rapper and everything. Tell us about that.
Okay. Yeah, I started rap. Well, music in general. I started music at the same time. I kind of started acting, but not like I started acting professionally way before music, and acting kind of led to me like buying the equipment of all my like of everything I needed to like make make my music professionally and such. So they kind of went hand in hand just throughout my whole career and such. But now I'm doing it professionally and for a living and such. And I work from my home studio, and I work with people like in Germany and such. Shout out to We Are Team Success and Twy and Position Music, which is a label based in LA. Basically, they send me like a beat or like a placement. We could get our songs into like video games, and so far we've gotten ourselves in like video games like League of Legends,
Oh,
to
wow.
NBA 2K. So I think recently we got into WWE,
Oh,
Saints Row, something that's coming out. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but It's out there.
Yeah.
There's a few more. There's a few more. Great one was Prince of Persia, which was dope.
One of my all-time favorite games.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia was my first ever video game I played. So that
Which
just came.
one? Sands of Time or?
I think I'm not too sure the exact title, but I remember playing it on PS2 with my uncle. So whatever game it was there, that and God of War. So I want to get the God of War one, but I don't know if they're still making it. But that's pretty much my music career in a nutshell. At the same time, I love experimenting, working with different artists. I actually went to LA throughout the summer for music specifically, not really for acting. And just to see the music scene out there and get more in touch with like labels and shake more hands out there and get more connections. And yeah, it's been taking me all over the place. Like honestly, music is really it just goes hand in hand with acting. Really, it's like.
Who were some of your inspirations to get into music, like rap or whatever?
For rap, my mom used to always play like Nas, Tribe Called Quest, and yeah, just a lot of East Coast rap around me. So I was like inspired like to go that route and just like work on my pen. One of the first rappers I ever seen. This was when YouTube was when I was on YouTube a lot and stuff. I would just like look up like certain things and Eminem would pop out of nowhere. And I would see his freestyles and stuff. It would just like blow my mind like as a kid. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yo, how do I do this stuff? And I was always the kid that was like, I would see something and then see something I really like and think it's cool and then instantly try to like emulate it in any way I can and such. And that's kind of just seeing where that takes me, never stopping. That's kind of where it came from.
It's always interesting for me talking to people of your generation how easily accessible everything you want to know about is. It's like if you want to know everything about, Eminem or Nas, Jay-Z, you just got to Google it. But man, when I was younger, I hate saying this, we had to like dig deep into magazines and then try to find another book that would reference this book so you can learn. And
just to let you know, Eric's gonna be 70 next month.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
He acts like he's like an old man.
Well, when it comes to the way things have advanced, like this is how I would get into bands, man. I would buy a CD when people would do this, and the band would thank other bands in the back of it. And I was like, okay, I have that CD.
The CD liner.
I gotta go back and get this one. But you guys have everything curated for you. With Spotify, it's like, oh, you like Nas? Here's 5 other artists that are similar to him.
Yeah. It's I think it's like honestly, it's such a privilege. I feel like it's not only a privilege, but it could also be toxic to a point where you become numb to a lot of like amazing things and fascinating things. So I try my best, like it's a muscle to work on to not get like too numb to like new sounds that come out and just like instantly chalking it up to something generic. It's like, no, it's just everyone has the greatest studios of like the 1980s in their bedrooms now and such, and everyone has their input on like what music is like to them. And if you like, I see it as it's so beautiful, and I'm like so lucky to live in like a time like this where everything, and I use that to my advantage actually, just like how accessible music is and how easy it is to like just conjure up a studio. I could fit my whole studio in my suitcase, and that's what I do.
Exactly.
I go out there, and then anyone with like a bug for like the music, I'll be like, "Yo, just try it out. It's like harmless. We can set it up in 5 minutes, and we'll have your idea in audio form." And like just because of how accessible it is, just made this more of like a playground for me. So
it's like this isn't a joke.
Yeah.
The average smartphone is a more powerful computer than what NASA used to send people to the moon.
The moon, yeah, exactly. It's a blessing, honestly.
It really is, man. So
every now and then I think about getting records though and such, and like going back to digging. So now that's like a whole new ritual. The artists are still doing that. I know a few couple producers that still like get their samples that way. It's just
really from vinyl.
It's just I mean, vinyl has like a different sound, and any other format. So I guess they go that way, but like also just like the feeling of like turntables is like they like being inside the music and stuff. But luckily that's still a choice. It's not like it's extinct.
Yeah. Yeah. Spoken like a really true creative person, because look, yes, back then, you know, even Eric's got me saying back then, back in the 90s and early 2000s. But really, honestly, the technology now has made it super easy and simple. And for acting and filmmaking speaks to, and even doing music production, you don't have to go to LA. You don't have to go to New York. You just have to throw it up. And on YouTube, you can throw it up through oh man, CD Baby, put it on Spotify, everything. You don't have, and see, that's one of the things too, is you don't have to get permission. You've never had to get permission to make music or be an actor, but to be hired and to be considered professional, you had to wait for people to say, hey, you're great, let's do an album with you. Now you can just be like, you know what, I love music, I'm going to play around, I'm going to make a song, and you just throw it out there. Right. That's that is the greatest part about technology, is for creative people, you can just do it. And you don't have to wait for anybody.
Yeah, there's really no excuse anymore, especially even for film. Like we have now the best cameras is in our pockets and such.
Yeah.
And now you can write your scripts on your phone, and I've seen people like just conjure up a whole damn near short film just like off an idea.
It's
like
crazy.
all right, we're doing this, and just getting out to another phone and like, all right, cool, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Finish. It's beautiful. It's like, hopefully, I think, but I still think like there is, hopefully this is not a lost art of like meeting people and such, because I still like appreciate that to like so much, and that's why I go out of my way to like make sure I work with people in person and such, because you can get too lost in the idea of just like kind of staying in a room, just like dishing out your art to the world and such. The good balance and stuff. And it's a blessing to have that choice nowadays.
Completely.
You know, the one thing about the technology that drives me crazy is the non-human connection now. And I'm glad you said that, because being a creative, you have to have that human connection, that face-to-face. And that because we as creative people, we have this energy, and if we're just in our room talking on a microphone doing a podcast all the time, right? and you don't get out, there's this whole, like, it's a thing to be able to just step outside, be with people in general, but then also there's a creative energy for creative people, right? Because it's not just talking, it's about being in the presence of somebody and taking in what they're giving you, and you give back, and I think there is a lost art to that, which I find it unfortunate, but I'm glad you said it.
And I feel like it's always going to be a thing that like we'll have, but it's dwindling the more we like stay in these rooms and such. And especially like that's why I really miss in-person auditions, and I haven't done any. I've done like one recently, and it was such a cool, because it's coming off like 2 years of not doing it and all the Zoom auditions. Right. I feel like Zoom auditions are like you're bringing a bubble. Everyone's in their own bubble in this, but like when you walk into a room, it's like this is a whole bubble of flow state. We're all in it together. We're all coming to a conclusion or a consensus about like what exactly like we need to refine about your new perspective. Like it's just a bunch of artists thrown at the canvas. As opposed to like, but still there's still like compromises to everything like we're trying to do now. I guess like it's better for financially, it's probably better and such. It's just we got to work with.
There's definitely a give and take. You know, when we did our horror film and we did it during the pandemic, we cast over the internet, and it's a good thing to do, but yes, it's very impersonal, and you don't have to it's weird to say because, you know, when you're in person at an audition, unless you're an actor or somebody that's casting, you don't really understand the electricity that's going on. You're a little nervous, you're a little jazzed, you want to get it right, you want to do things to show your creative power, but in front of a Zoom camera, in front of a camera,
Yeah.
you're just kind of like, all right, man, let's just do this thing. And it's almost like it's just a thing you have to do. And I think that's the unfortunate, but it also makes you flex your actor muscle as well. So you got to get
like,
into
in a
it.
box.
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah,
Gotta
yeah.
like be as fascinating as you can in this little tiny box and such. You can't
Yeah, yeah,
do all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, but like, I mean, it, like, as long as that's like kind of part of the reason why being personal is like kind of dwindling, and like because people are not like, there's more than just the audition and like, all right, do your scene and stuff. There's also like how you walk in, and that's all part of networking and such. And
Exactly.
but just like you said, actually, which is a great point, about like you have to exercise those same chops, but like make it in this box now.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
you might, it either makes you smaller or like now you, yeah, I don't know. It's just a new thing to get used to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's hard to explain. Actually, talk to because one thing about our podcast, right, is we have a lot of obviously we have creative people because we talk to actors, we talk to musicians, filmmakers, authors, and really get a sense of who they are. And for you, what was it like? What was your very first was Degrassi your very first like big thing?
Uh, not sure. It's been I feel like honestly any gig I think my first commercial was like the biggest thing for me. Like it
Oh
was
yeah.
like it was like whatever gig I had honestly was like so huge to me, and like on TV out of nothing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess Degrassi, like name wise, yeah. Heartland biggest role definitely. To me, all TV was just so fascinating in general. Just it being on TV, someone being
Yeah.
on TV was
Yeah.
cool. So,
Tell us about Heartland and the audition process for that.
oh, yeah, I love talking about it. It was funny because I think so. He's like he's kind of an awkward character, right? So I already came to the audition fairly nervous and such. I remember doing the lines and saying something like I messed up on the lines like brutally, and the whole audition room erupted in laughter, and I was like standing there embarrassed and stuff.
Oh.
I remember that day there was two auditions, so it was one of those like auditions, like two auditions in different rooms right next to each other, and I had both. So I ran from one, like, all right, you're in, go, and then I ran to the next one and such. And so like I was in my head a lot, messed up this line by saying something like, it was very inappropriate to slip up. I said like fart instead of another or something like that, and just and luckily I got the part, but I was like in my head the whole time they were making the decision, and that was pretty much how I got it. I guess I remember like the editor, or I think the person who cast me or was a big part in that process, was his name is Dean, and he said like, yeah, you saw the audition tape, you saw it when I messed up and such. He's like, you had that spirit that still was the character and such. And so yeah, that was an experience. And every now and then I talk about it with my mom. It's so
That's
fun.
cool.
Back on.
That's
You had
very
a
cool.
Her seeing me just like just right into the next room and stuff at like 16 years old. Yeah.
Or were
Wow.
they at least similar shows? Because it would be pretty funny if you were like auditioning for like a serial killer for one show,
Oh yeah.
and then the other one, this wholesome guy, and you mess up, you get the
I
wrong
don't know.
sides.
I'm not too sure. I remember it being like a movie or something. But it was definitely not that character or
Oh,
not
okay.
Adam or something. It was, I don't even know. Like I didn't even get a chance to think about it, because now I have this crazier thing to think about,
Yeah.
more embarrassing. So just walked out of there like just like, all right, just kind of
How
dazed.
long did it take you to find out if you had the part?
Like a few days.
Okay,
Did
what was it like when you got that call, man? It's like, hey, listen, you got the part. What did it feel like?
Oh yeah, I remember I was in class and I just walked out.
Oh,
Yeah, I was just like, hold on. Just like I was like, it was in middle school and just like hold on, I need a minute. I was on my phone. I shouldn't be on my phone in class, but like I was just like and the agent would call my mom and stuff, and then I see that I got the part. And okay, like just like walk out like and stuff. So it was pretty. It took a bit to actually realize. And then I get there, and everyone's so nice, and it's just like the most calming and friendly environment to work in. And Alberta just being as beautiful as it is, like we'd be filming and the mountains would be off in the distance. It was a dream, and honestly, it's a surreal experience. Then I got used to it over time. It it was a process, like coming to grips with it, and I didn't even realize like how far it would take me or like what the connections of these people would lead to and stuff. But I learned everything I probably needed to from the process of being on Heartland and such.
That's
you were
cool.
on like 28 or over 28 episodes of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. It was
It-
yeah. I was supposed to be on way less and such. And it kind of it took me from middle school, kind of went on throughout high school.
Now, actually, say that again. You were supposed to be on a little, like not that long, right?
Oh no, I think like yeah, I was just like a reoccurring character and stuff. And I think
Wow. And they just kept bringing you back.
they kept seeing I guess there was like they loved how the characters interacted and such, and
That's so
they just
awesome,
kind of
man.
leaned into it a bit more.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. That's good. That's good.
And
That's
that
good.
goes back to what you were saying about, having the talent, but also being a good guy. Because if you would have been like a great actor, but not a nice guy, you would have only been a few episodes. But, and I
Oh
mean this
yeah.
as a director, I really feel you're the total package. I would cast you as anything. I mean, if I ever get to make a Spider-Man movie, you're my Miles Morales.
Oh my God. Thank you. We did it, y'all. Clips. I need that clip right there.
I'll send it to you. I'll clip it for you.
I've been saying it to people. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna. It's a running joke between me and my friends that I'm like.
No, but I mean that because it's like, man, he would make a great Miles Morales. If you saw Into the Spider-Verse, Larry, so you get the
Oh yeah.
reference.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I guess
cool.
about time. I have like so many friends that are like that would be good Miles Morales and stuff. Pretty much my whole art school that I went to in high school was like full of Miles Morales. It's kind of that's like the joke is that like you can also that meme where Spider-Man's like looking.
Yeah.
That's all of us in high school pretty much.
That's cool. That's very cool.
But so yeah, Heartland was just again one of those great. Like we're gonna eventually get to the other show you're on now, but it was just again one of those shows where you could watch it with your family and not be worried about something popping up that you'll have to change the channel or walk out of the room.
Oh yeah, no, like, and it kept it interesting too, and certain things would pop out of nowhere. That, like I remember doing the fire episode and stuff, and just thinking how like it's so grounded in the story, and like you can still watch it with your family and like get really concerned for the characters. Everyone like really in that show. It's like I feel like it's a show with a lot of integrity. That show, and that's why it ran for so long. It's like so true to its own nature. It doesn't really delve off too much, just like as like Hallmark would do. I feel like it's like just outside of Hallmark shows.
Yeah.
This was really cool. Like you can still watch it with your family, and I feel like the show, the way home is kind of like I'm seeing the parallels, and I guess the connection is the writer is also
Okay.
from the same show. So
yeah.
And that is our segue into Way Home. And I like what you said because I want to put this everything I've seen you and your two big things, your characters always have integrity. you've always played these like bright, intelligent, guys, and that's just so cool. Not that they're the same character. I don't mean it like that. Each
Yeah.
one is different, but I think
Mhm.
it's because of your integrity that I can tell that you have just from our brief conversation here that you bring that to everything you do.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I hope it translates. I'm just trying to play these. I've played some mean guys, and honestly, sometimes it doesn't feel right. But like I like um uh bringing a lot of just myself to the characters and stuff, and it's obviously like trying to perfect it over time, and I'm still in love with this craft. But yeah, I do a lot of things like I love it. So hopefully it shows that I'm like try to be as into him as possible. It's
I'm pretty sure it shows because you can't.
hopefully.
Yeah, because obvious it is. You see, and that's the thing about acting. The
Mhm.
actors get to play anybody,
Mm.
right? But every role that you do, you bring a sense of yourself to it. Obviously, whether you're a bad guy, good guy, or whatever, right?
Yeah,
There's still a sense of you.
yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about your character, on
Uh,
the show.
on the show, Spencer, uh, I think like out of all characters I've played, he's the closest to who I would be. Like, uh, especially at that time, it's kind of funny because he's a cook, and I really have just recently gotten to cooking just before I got on the show and stuff. And just before I got on the show, I was working at a cafe, and it was like, okay, this is like eerily like parallel with my life and such. And um, love how much of a great guy he is, even though he's kind of selfless. And uh, he I don't know, there was some cool there's some things they were trying to play that also kind of gave him that. There's like a dark kind of thing, ulterior motive to him that hopefully will delve more into going down the line. But as far as I know, he's a very nice guy and fairly confident for his age and such.
That's
And
cool.
it's just fun to play him sometimes. So
That's
especially
cool.
when they give you wacky costumes like a Will Smith costume or, or like yeah, like some old school outfit. That was really fun. Mm.
That's cool. That's
But
very
here's what
cool.
have you gotten to meet any of the 90s cast, or do they keep you guys, since you
Yeah.
don't interact in the show? Oh, you got to meet each other?
Oh yeah. There was like one day, and I think they orchestrated this. Not only there was like obviously a cast celebration after the fact, but there was one day where just all of us were in like scenes back to back because it would be like one location,
Yeah.
and it would be like the past version of the same
Right.
location. So I'd be there, and I got to meet Alex, and I got to meet everyone. Same time, Sam who plays Teen Nick. We go way back from like a film that we worked on in Winnipeg, slasher film. So we hung out we always hung out like after the fact, and he does music too, so we work on music and such. And yeah. It was like a day where I just got to meet everyone, and we're all in the same place. We just like during lunch, we were just talking
What
up.
movie were you
That's
guys
cool.
in together, you and Sam?
I think I don't know if it's out yet, but it's called Time Cut. And, I'm sure there was a bit of delays because there was strikes and pandemics.
Okay. Because I heard
That's cool.
slasher movie and I started doing my Rolodex of slasher movies.
Movies that are like, nah, I don't think this one's out. But it was really fun. That's where I met Sam. We had a cool time working with each other and such. And then it's so funny that he's like on the other end of this
Yeah.
like dynamic. Um, Stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of eerie. While we were filming this season, there was another version of that where like we got to, and it's kind of funny talking to them because it's like we don't know when we're probably gonna see each other ever again. Probably at the celebration. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it really.
Do you guys obviously season 2 is just getting ready to come out in January, but how long did it take you to film season 2?
Season 2, sad thing about it, and Not sure. Yeah, I can talk about it. I'm not there for most of the season because I actually I got a lead role in this film that just finished in October.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I couldn't finish
Congratulations.
filming it. Thank you. I was working every day so I can really work on it. But it was a really dope opportunity, and I think the season just ended. Like it kind of started filming at the time that it happened last year, and so it's probably like gonna reach its end around now. So, but I was there for like the first block, and
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
to.
yeah.
It was bittersweet. It was like I knew there was so much in store for my character, and hopefully they bring it back for next season after. And I feel like I'm pretty confident about that.
I think so. It seems like it's
Yeah.
a big hit
Yeah.
on
Oh yeah.
Hallmark. So and why would they? And I think Hallmark is kind of like a channel, kind of like Eric said. It knows what it wants, it knows what it is, and it knows a good thing when it's
Mm,
there.
Yeah.
So they just kind of roll with it. So yeah, yeah,
yeah.
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 And speaking of your film, we will have you back on whenever you know that it's coming out. We'd love to have you back on to talk about that for
Oh
sure.
yeah. Yeah. I would love to. Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, do you now? I know you're a musician. Do you play instruments?
No, I'm working on it though. That guitar
Really?
Oh, okay.
does, but like I pick it up every now and then and such. It's just like there's a lot of things I work on when it comes to music. I
Yeah.
also mix engineer and stuff and try to make beats. But I'm trying to learn all aspects of music. It's like a language I want to learn so that when I walk into the
Right.
room, speak as many languages fluently to get my idea out and be as specific as possible. So I'll pick up the guitar. It's mentally straining as much as it is, but eventually I'll get it down soon
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, not too
Yeah.
much. But
Yeah.
as of now, I can't say I do. Yeah.
Well, but I think, I think that's one of the good things because creative people, they think in their head and they think in their heart, but sometimes a lot of times it's hard to put out what's in our head, right?
Oh yeah.
Especially musicians,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, no, man, there's this thing and it flows like this and it's like this, and they're like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
But if you're able to speak that language, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're able just to, and this goes really for any creative. If you're learning your craft and if you're in the middle of learning your craft, all you have to do is just be able to let the language of your craft come out, and people get it. On all it takes, man, especially when you're in a band or when you're like looking for beats and you're putting stuff together, all of a sudden it'll just click. And there's something about it where it's just like, oh yeah, man. It comes out even better, right?
Yeah.
When you try to put stuff together. It's a crazy, beautiful thing. That's
Yeah.
for
It's hard
sure.
to explain, especially it, there's certain things me personally even like I want to learn the language as much as possible so that like I can mess up. It makes the mistakes way better. Like
Mhm.
those mistakes that come out in the like spontaneous nature of like art in general. Like when you allow yourself to fluently be able to experience the surrounding around you, the things that come up in that like certain even in acting, especially like if I mess up on a line or something, then someone has a specific reaction. What if that's like the one that we needed, or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing
Right.
that turns it and stuff? That happening in the music process is like it's blissful. Like the amount of accidents that just became the thing is all because like we brought our intentions here and we let it go. That's a huge part of the process. Is like the amount of preparation you bring up to this event, and then you got to just let it go and let it be
Yeah.
what it is, appreciate it for what it is. Such
Ah,
it's super prevalent in film and acting, especially. Too much prepper. You could do months of preparation for a character and then just throw it out. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
man. Spoken like a true creator. Oh my God, this is amazing, dude. You really are. And it's like Eric said, you like the complete package. You're creative. You're First of all, you're a nice person. You're a really
Completely. Yeah.
super.
Thank you. You guys.
Let me go back to Eric's generation. You're a real swell guy.
You're older
You're
than me,
really
Oh,
cool
Larry.
guy,
You're
man.
older than me.
Eric, but you sound like when you talk
Oh,
back
wait.
in your generation.
I want to
but
make Kataem laugh a little bit. This was a long time ago, man. We were in Vegas. I was only 20. My family was there for something, and Larry and his wife were there for a Guns N' Roses concert.
oh, the
So
first, yeah,
we're
January
so
1st.
we're walking around Vegas and we start playing slot machines. I know it was illegal. I was 20, and the pit boss starts walking towards us.
Oh,
I get scared. He cards Larry.
yeah, yeah. It's so true.
Larry was married, had a kid,
Yeah,
Oh shit.
and I
and
got
was on
carded.
like a national commercial.
Yes.
And he's the one that got carded while I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to run.
Wait, is it because he looks
It's-
older, or
Because he looks older than me.
he
Yeah.
looks like,
Yeah.
He looks younger than me because I look older.
oh, oh man, oh shit.
I've always looked older than what I am.
Yeah.
Even as a teenager, people would like want me to go buy beer for them.
There's a lot of power to that role.
Oh God,
It's like-
that's amazing.
Make people do whatever. Just like Chuck Duck does, like wise advice. Make people do whatever you want.
Well, I know we oughta, we've had a great time talking with
Yeah.
you, man, and really we appreciate you making time, during the Christmas season to be on the show and talk with us. And again, the door is always welcome for you whenever you want to come back on to talk about your music, upcoming movies, or just joke around. You're a funny guy also,
Yeah.
man. So
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you so much. Have a very happy holiday season, a blessed new year. And everybody, like we say each and every year, especially right now, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Support our troops and our troops' families.